What's up, Illuminators? It's Charlie and Matheus here from Inkborn Heroes, and today we're going to be bringing you a tier list for Shimmering Skies of all of the legendary and super rare cards. We thought we'd take a look now that we've had a chance to see them all being revealed and actually see how good we think some of these are going to be. The intention of this is to cover the legendaries and super rares because we feel like those are going to be the harder ones to maybe get your hands on early on. So if you want to prioritize any of them based on what we think, and this video is sponsored by our friends at Le Pierre Barbu, so you can hit them up already. They already have pre-orders for singles if you want to get yours in advance before release day.
You can find the link just down below. Just go check their website and get your pre-orders in right now.
Yeah, and with that said, should we throw it over to the tier list?
Let's do this. So should we start with Amber?
Let's do it. So the first Amber card we have is Prince Naveen, ukulele player, a 4-cost uninkable, 3/3 quest for 2, singer 6 with the ability It's Beautiful No. When you play this character, you may play a song with cost 6 or less for free. So when we reviewed this as part of the card reveals, I think we definitely felt like this card was incredibly strong. Any card that allows you to play something for free, especially a song, is always a big deal. And the fact you can be playing like the biggest songs in the game, the Whole New Worlds, the Grab Your Swords for free. You can also play things like A Blast From Your Past. There are loads of songs that Naveen can play for free. So I think for sure he's a strong card.
Okay, but the question is, where is he slotting at?
Where is he
S or
slotting
A?
in? So we don't have anything to compare him to at the moment since he's the first. We might rejig some of these as we go. But I do think Naveen could be one of the S tier cards this set. I think his ability is just crazy. I think a lot of different decks are going to be running him.
Yeah.
So
and his popularity has been quite big actually among the community.
Yeah.
I think people are expecting to come back with the Steel Song decks.
Steel Song, I think
So
he's
he's a
definitely
good
going to be a
one.
big boost. So
Yeah.
let's put him in S for now, and we'll see as we go. So up next, we have the other legendary from Amber. This is Mirabel Madrigal, Family Gatherer, a 5-cost inkable 5/5 that quests for 5. With the ability, not without my family, when you play this character... Oh, sorry, you can't play this character unless you have 5 or more characters in play. So this is the Set Championship promo card, the enchanted version of this. And I think, really, Mirabel is going to end up in one of
Between
these...
B and C.
Between B and C. And the reason is, although it's a super good ability, like a super strong quester, it is kind of hard to set up. Like, how many games do you really get 5 characters out on the board? And really, if you have 5 characters out on the board, you're already really winning. So she's really more of a win more card. I don't think she's C tier. I think there will be some kind of niche decks that are able to get her to go off. But I think probably she's going to sit more around the B tier.
I agree. I think we should drop her a B. And we can adapt as we go, for sure.
Yes. So that's Mirabel. Next, we have what I think, spoilers, probably the best card revealed this set is Dizzy Duck Donald's Date, a 1-cost, uninkable 1/4 questing for 2, with the ability Big Prize. Whenever this character quests, each opponent reveals the top card of the deck. If it's a character card, they may put it into their hand, otherwise they put it on the bottom of the deck. So we talked at length about Daisy and why this is so good. Her stats are just crazy. There are very few ways to get her off the board in the early game. She is basically removing your opponent's ability to even deal with her by filtering those songs to the bottom of the deck or those actions to the bottom of the deck. And really, I think she's just going to be in every aggro deck that's running Amber. I would say she's better than Naveen, so we'll put her up here at the top. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
I agree. No, I agree. I think even the negativity of that card, how you would see as negativity, it can actually be positive as well.
Yeah.
So I think she's a strong card, for sure.
Yeah.
It's making me consider playing Amber decks.
I think
because of that.
Amber is definitely doing really well this set. Another Amber card, another good card. I don't know if it's a great card. Minnie Mouse, Drum Major, a 5-cost inkable 4/4 quest for 2, Floodborn, so she shifts at 4, and she has the ability Parade Order. When you play this character, if you use Shift to play her, you may search your deck for a character card and reveal that card to all players, shuffle your deck, and then put this card onto the top of your deck. So really, I think the big synergy we saw for her is in maybe something like a Mufasa deck. You can use her to put that card on the top of your deck, and then maybe when Mufasa is banished, you already know what card's coming, so you know you're not going to get a bad card. Does she see play outside of those decks? Like, it definitely feels a bit niche. I don't know if the consistency will be there to put her in the A tier. I think she's better than Mirabel. I'll be honest. So
yeah.
we can put her over here. But I think she belongs in B tier right now.
I agree.
So yeah, there's me. And then the last card we have for Amber, we have Blast from Your Past. A 6-cost uninkable song. Name a card. Return all character cards with that name from your discard to your hand. So some more kind of effects that are taking cards out of your discard. Again, it feels like a bit of a niche card at the moment. Like certainly if you run like a tribal deck, maybe if you have all of the queens or things like that, then this card would be useful. In other decks, maybe in like an aggro deck, if you're running 99 puppies, maybe the Merlin package, this could see some use, but I don't know. I think if you're able to use Naveen to sing it for free, it becomes a lot better.
I think they work together, and again, they work depending on the ink combination you do. But would people be playing that ink combination to just 5 with Merlin and so on? I'm not sure. I still think it's an A, to be honest, but I trust their judgment better than me.
I don't know. I do feel like it's probably here, and again, I think it's probably better than Mirabelle.
Okay, let's start with a B then.
That. Yeah, I feel bad. Yeah, it's a hard one. So we'll go over to Amethyst next, and we have Genie Main Attraction, a 7-cost uninkable 5/5 quest for 2 with the ability Spectacular Entertainer. While this character is exerted, opposing characters can't ready at the start of their turn. I do think this is a fun card. It's one of those abilities your opponent really has to play around. I don't think it'll be in every deck. I think it's kind of maybe a bit niche, but I think maybe it could be in the A tier. I don't know how you feel.
I do think it would be an A tier for sure.
He actually pairs well with the new Olaf we saw, where the cost is reduced for every exerted
I think there are different ways to use that. It is very expensive though. It's an inkable and very expensive.
Yeah.
But again, I'm going based on the reaction that everyone had. Obviously, that was one of the first legendaries, so usually the reaction is always like grand. But when we look across everything we're getting from Shimmering Skies, I think there is more uniqueness to this gameplay over other ones.
I do think so, and I think in maybe like an Amethyst Sapphire deck where you can get him out sooner, he becomes more powerful. So I think A tier right now.
I want to just super quick disclaimer: you'll see some cards that are being translated by us. This is not the original card. It's still the same art. It's still the same stats, but we translated the text just for usability.
Yeah.
But again, this is one of those examples. We only had the card in German, so we will have a note.
So the text may change, but hopefully not too much.
Exactly.
So I think we're comfortable with Genie in the A tier. And is this a good time to send it over to a word from our sponsors of this video?
Definitely. So check it out, this video about Le Pierre Babou. And as we're saying since the beginning, this is our chance to also pre-order those before everyone else. They will have the costs on their website. Get everything so you can guarantee on day one. So let's roll this advertisement.
Yeah. A huge shout out to our friends at Le Pierre Babou for sponsoring this video. Head over to lepierrebabou.com for all of your Lorcana needs, and pre-orders are available already for Set 5 Shimmering Skies. And tell them we sent you by using the discount code Inkborn10 at the checkout to get 10% off all your singles. All the details are down below.
Okay, now we're back, and let's look at the other legendary we have
So this is Camille Madrigal, Family Copycat, a 6-cost inkable 3/7 that quests for 1, with the ability Imitate. Whenever this character quests, you may gain law equal to the law of chosen other character of yours, return that character to your hand. So, of course, in Amethyst, he's going to synergize quite well with the bounce package, the Merlins, the Merlin Rabbit, the Merlin Goat to gain you some law or cards, and gaining law from them as well. I think the problem is twofold. Firstly, it's an effect that requires him to quest, so he needs to stick on the board for a turn. And it also requires him not to get Medusa'd. He is a 3-strength character, so he's well within Medusa range. I don't think he's C tier necessarily. I think if you're able to get him out again, I think Sapphire Amethyst might see a bit of a comeback this set. If you're able to get him out a bit earlier so that he can survive Medusa for a little bit longer, maybe. But yeah, I do think he's probably...
I think he can sit next to Mirabelle.
Yeah, he's the worst we've seen so far.
Yes.
And next then, we're going to look at Madam Mim Elephant, a 4-cost inkable 3/7 that quests for 1. She has 2 abilities, a little game. When you play this character, banish her or return chosen character of yours to your hand. And sneaky move, at the start of your turn, you may move up to 2 damage counters from this character to chosen opposing character. This one to me feels definitely like it's either high A's or low S tier.
Definitely more than Genie, in my opinion.
Definitely more than
So
Genie.
if she is slotted at A, has to be before Genie.
Yeah.
I think she was just one of those amazing cards, really, together with all the other Madame Mims we have.
Yeah.
I would definitely see that in my deck, and I can't imagine other people not. There's so many new synergies as well about damage in the set, in particular, growing from the previous set to this set, and being able to distribute that, I think, is quite strong.
I think, a 3/7 on turn 4 that can potentially bounce back your characters. I think the only kind of minor issue with her is the fact she's a 4-cost, which is the same as the Merlin Goat, same as the Merlin Rabbit, which are really going to be your main shift targets. So potentially you're going to play her on turn 5, maybe with Cogsworth to give her rush. So I think that's the only downside. So that's the thing that might make me put her in A tier rather than S tier. I don't know how you feel.
No, I think you're right.
But I think she is definitely a very, very strong A tier. I think all Ruby Amethyst decks are going to be running probably a full set of Madame Mim Elephants.
Imagine if she was Rush as well.
Imagine if she was
Because then you can get the damage straight away.
That would be crazy. Exactly. So next up we have Elsa the Fifth Spirit, a 5-cost Inkable, a 2/5 that quests for 1. She has Rush, she has Evasive, and she has the ability Crystallize. Crystallize. When you play this character, exert chosen opposing character. So Elsa has a lot going for her. I think, again, it might just come down to her cost. Like a 5 cost, she can obviously deal with something like Diablo. But unfortunately, Diablo can come down on turn 2, can come down on turn 1. So she's quite a way out of that. But I think the fact that she can do all of those things is pretty good. Like she does a lot of things well.
I think it's how she combined with the other cards announced recently as well, right? There's a lot of cards that the condition is the Exert.
Yeah.
And she's a way to trigger that Exert straight away. She's quite weak though.
Yeah.
She is weak for that turn.
I almost want to put her high B tier.
I'm thinking so as well.
Yeah, so
I do think that she will see more play than a lot of those cards we're talking about. I honestly do.
I do as well.
But I don't think she is as good as the ones on A and X.
So next, I think this is our last card for Amethyst. We have one more. This is Maleficent Fearsome Queen, an 8-cost uninkable 7/7 that quests for 2. She's Floodborn, can shift in at 6, and she has the ability Everyone Listen. When you play this character, for each character named Maleficent you have in play, return chosen opposing character, item, location of cost 3 or less to their player's hand. So that's really the only way Amethyst has to deal with items. It makes dealing with locations a little bit easier and helps against aggro threats. The problem is it's triggered by the number of Maleficents you have in play. So if you have her in play, at least you get 1. Or like you will at least guarantee 1. But it requires you to really build around this card to get the most value out of it. And I think even then, is it that big of a deal bouncing the cards back to your opponent's hand?
So is it 3 or less?
It costs 3 or less.
Okay.
Yeah,
so there are other 3 or less. I think that's the other thing as well. There were items that is not good. Obviously, it's not a body.
Yeah.
There are other methods in Amethyst that were introduced with 3 or less. But this one is a body. It quests for 2.
Yeah.
The question is, if you are playing that ability specifically for that, would you go for a cost of 8? Obviously, you can shift.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think it is a stronger contender if you're going for the aggro approach in Amethyst with all the Maleficents. And if you go Amethyst and Sapphire, I can see people playing that for sure. But it almost turns into to be more thematic. And as you said, is returning to your hand, is that even beneficial? You're just slowing down the player for 1. I think the thing is, she could go for C. I see where you're going for, but I actually think she's better than Mirabelle. That's the concern I have here.
She's better than Mirabelle. I think Mirabelle might be worse than Bruno.
I do. That's the thing. I almost feel like Mirabelle is C. It's almost getting to that point because I can see the Mirabelle. Like, as you said, you're getting to the point where you use Mirabelle, you already are ahead of things.
She is inkable though. If she was an inkable, I would say.
Okay, leave it in there. Let's see what we have more.
So there, we've added Maleficent to B tier. So we are going over to Emerald. We're going to start with Anna Diplomatic Queen, a 3-cost, an inkable, a 2/3 that quests for 2, with the ability Royal Resolution. When you play this character, you may pay 2 to choose 1. Each opponent chooses and discards a card. Chosen character gains +2 strength this turn, or banish chosen damaged character. So it's a lot of abilities attached to Anna. And the fact that they're optional does mean that you can kind of choose what do I need in this situation, so that she does offer a lot of flexibility. Ultimately though, she is something that's going to come down on turn 5. You need to have the ink available to pay for her. So she helps by removing the need to have like 4 sudden chills in your hand or ring the bells or something like that. But how good is she? I'm not so sure. I think she's probably B tier, but it's where in the B tier is the question. Unless you disagree.
No, I don't disagree. I think it's the cost. Some players might want to play at 3 just to be able to quest, but again, that's not the way to use this card, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then at that point, I don't see much relevance. I'm trying to go back to the comments we see online, right? A lot of people are actually raving this card or rating this card.
Okay,
but
so I don't want to disagree with the people online, so I'm going to put her high B tier.
Okay.
I think she is a little bit too situational.
I agree.
To warrant it. So the other legendary we have from Emerald is Clarabelle with a Light Hoof, a 7-cost Inkable, 5/6, quest for 2. She's Floodborn, so she'll shift in at 5, and she has the ability Keep the Pace. At the end of your turn, choose an opponent. If they have more cards in their hand than you, draw until you have as many as them. So that's actually quite a cool ability. A little bit of card draw. I know Matthias is a huge Clarabelle fan, so I might just put her in.
I don't know if she's asked. I don't think she's asked.
I don't know if she's necessarily A tier. It does require you to really get the value out of her. You do really need to.
You have to have more Clarabelles, right? It comes down to that. Yeah. But I do think the Clarabelles that got announced the set are actually quite good.
They are quite playable, yeah.
So people could play that and then have that one to
so maybe the A tier, because she is like a crazy draw engine for Emerald. She does survive Medusa.
Yeah.
She does survive Along Came Zeus. She is inkable if you can't.
I think
get her
she's
out.
A for sure.
I think
she's even better than Genie, but.
Okay, I don't disagree with that.
But I'm not sure.
I still Genie's a funny one. He's either going to be amazing or he's going to be terrible.
And you quote us on that. You can come back to this video. That was yes. This is our first time doing a tier list, by the way, but we do have some experience along those lines.
Yeah. So let us know if you like this format. So next we have Mother Gothel, Unwavering Schema, a 6-cost Inkable, 4/6, that quest for 2. Another Floodborn, shifting in at 4. And she has the ability, The World is Dark. When you play this character, each opponent chooses one of their characters and returns that card to their hand. I actually don't know about this one. I don't think she's C tier. Let's agree on that. I think she's either B or A.
I think she's. I really want to love her.
She is a good body. She does like Clarabelle. She survives Tremaine. She survives Along Came Zeus. She survives World's Greatest Criminal Mind. Quest for 2. Shifting in at 4, you can slow your opponent down. I think it's just because your opponent gets to choose what they're banishing or what they're returning to their own hand.
The thing is how this can bite you back, right? If you're playing against Ruby Amethyst, there are cards on Amethyst that the player actually wants to bring it back to their hand. So this is helping. So it almost feels like it's the type of card you run against very specific decks.
She's inkable though, which is always good if you need a little bit of flexibility, but maybe she's high B tier?
I think she'll be before Anna for sure. We'll start to group those, yeah. I don't think we expected to have that many.
We need to plan better next time. So, we'll put her high B tier, sorry. So, up next we have Prince Philip, Kingdom's Swordsman, a 7-cost Inkable, 3/9, that quest for 3. He has 2 abilities. The first one, Dragon Slayer. When you play this character, you may banish chosen dragon character and take advantage. If this character challenged a damaged character this turn, you may ready this character after the challenge. So, Philip might be the first C tier card. The reason I'm saying that, he is a 7-cost. He is inkable, but he is a 7-cost, so it's a very late game ability, which means your opponent's going to have easy access to Medusa, which will be able to take him out before he has a challenge, before he's able to challenge. The dragon ability I don't think is particularly relevant unless we see
not yet.
Yet. There are going to be more dragons entering the game eventually, but I think right now we don't have that many dragon targets to make that first ability relevant. And then the second ability, it requires him to wait a turn to dry, to then be able to challenge, and the characters have to be damaged in order to do it. It just feels a little bit too difficult to set that up.
And he's not even Floodborn.
And he's not Floodborn, exactly. But I don't know, maybe there's going to be some crazy Sapphire Emerald deck which is able to cheat him out a bit early, but I just think right now he's in C tier.
So the good news for Prince Philip is that there is a card worse than him, and it's coming right now.
It is coming right now. So that is Scroop, Odious Mutineer, a 3-cost uninkable, 2/1 that quest for 2. He's evasive, and he has the ability, Do Say Hello to Mr. Arrow. When you play this character, you may pay 3 to banish chosen damaged character. So that ability, very similar to Anna's, We already put Anna in B tier. He is worst stats. He does have evasive, and he's pay 3, so you can really only take advantage of this on turn 6. I think this one...
It makes no sense. That's the thing. When you see Anna next to it, it's a card that is worse just for the sake of being worse.
Yeah.
We're happy that there's a Treasure Planet card, don't get us wrong, but this is not
This is our one Treasure Planet card for
You can
the
even
set.
move all the way to the other side if you want
You
already.
think he's going to be the boss? I think he might
He
be
will. There's nothing worse than
one
that.
of the worst
Just leave it there.
super
Send a
rare
signal.
cards this set.
And I'll be so shy if we're wrong.
Oh.
There's no way we're wrong about this one. There's no way.
I'm never certain about anything, but yeah, Scroop is a little bit buns. Moving over to Ruby now, we have Robin Hood Sharpshooter, 4 cost and inkable, 1/4 quest for 2 with the ability My Greatest Performance. Whenever this character quests, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal an action card with cost 6 or less and play it for free. Put the rest into your discard. So anyone who's watched the channel before will know that I'm a huge Robin Hood fan, which is why it makes me sad to put him down here in the B tier. I think B tier is where he belongs. I know there have been people online saying he's better than people think he is. I'm not so sure, and it's just because he is a 4-cost uninkable, so you maybe aren't going to be able to run the full set in your deck. He can easily be taken down by so many removal spells in that 4-cost slot. Like, your opponent's going to have access to those spells, those songs, those actions, sorry. He needs to quest in order for you to get the ability.
So he has to survive
So he has to survive a turn. Once he quests...
The quantity, right, of 5-6 cost actions. There are some good ones, but there isn't many.
There aren't that many.
Yeah.
You have to hope that they're in the top 4 cards of your deck, and the ones that... Everything that's not an action that you can play for free is going into your discard pile.
And that's the key word. Sorry to interrupt you. That's the key word. If it was going back to your deck on the bottom, which was what we thought was the case, but it's discarding. There's a big risk element to that.
Yeah.
So even with synergies that you could do this with Umber, right?
Yeah.
With Chernabog, Evil Doer. Imagine if the card is actually part of the 4 you're just drawing. So
then it becomes
it's more risky than anything, and he's so weak. He has 1 strength as well.
Yeah. So I think like a one really, really fun combo that could come off is Robin Hood and the new Amber Action Revive, which allows you to play a card from your discard for free. I think if they're 5 cost or less, but the chance of you being able to consistently pull off that combo, I just don't think it's happening.
There is one more thing as well, potentially with Sapphire, and it's more playing the other way around. If you want to purposefully lose your items and other things, so then Tamato can bring it.
Yeah.
So there is that. But again, that's so situational,
It's
right?
very situational.
I think he's B for sure. I think he's better than a lot in B, though.
I think he is better than a lot in B. I would say, where does he go? I think he's worse than Elsa.
I think he's worse than Elsa.
But I think he's better than these other ones, so let's... And yeah, so we'll put Robin Hood in B tier, a little bit below Elsa. And we'll move over to the next legendary for Ruby, which is Donald Duck Pieslinger. This is a character I know Matthias
Charlie went
to
from the favorite of Robin Hood, and I want to love the favorite of Donald Duck.
So he's a 5-cost inkable, 3/6 quest for 1. He can shift for 4, and he has 2 abilities. The first one, Humble Pie. When you play this character, if you use shift to play him, each opponent loses 2 law. And Raging Duck, while an opponent has 10 or more law, this character gains +6 strength, so he becomes quite a big body really in the later part of the game. So in more of a control deck, maybe he's going to do well, maybe a more mid-rangey deck. But I think one of the things about his ability that feels a little bit counterproductive is the fact when you play him, your opponent loses law, but you need them to have law to kind of do well. So I don't know, I feel like he's, again, maybe a little bit too situational. I don't see a lot of decks running him.
It's interesting because he is a Floodborn, and we did
Floodborn.
get to see some Donald Ducks that, even though there was nothing too special, baby Donald Ducks, that it is something that I could see in my deck. So it could work along those lines, right? But he is a 3 strength as well, so he's the target for many things. So
yeah, he can come in at turn 4, but even then, at that point he only quests for 1.
Yeah.
Like, he's really there if you want to be controlling your opponent by removing their law and getting a lot of strength.
Or if you're playing against aggro. So by that point, if you're very unlucky, they might be above. They might have 12.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like he's maybe low B tier.
Yeah.
And maybe we're going to be wrong. Maybe he's going to have loads of functions. But right now, I feel like he's too niche.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately. But then there's a card that I really like.
Yeah, which actually synergizes a little bit with Donald. So this is Maximus, champion of the team. 6 cost, inkable, 3/5 that quest for 2 with the ability A Reward Worthy of a King. And he has the ability A Reward Worthy of a King. At the end of your turn, if you have a character in play with 5 strength or more, gain 2 law. If that character has 10 strength or more, gain 5 law instead. So functioning a little bit like Flynn Rider that we saw from the previous set, Frenemy, which is a card I really like. Except this is at the end of your turn, so your opponent can't do a thing about it. So I think something like Donald Duck, if you're able to get him up to that 10 strength, like if your opponent has the law, which is boosting him up, and then you have Maximus in play, it could work.
Which Donald Duck?
The one we just looked at.
But he does increase his strength.
He gets 9 if your opponent has 10 plus law.
Of course.
So if you're able to give him that 1 extra strength with maybe a Lumiere, then it's possible. One of the things that it's been confirmed with Maximus is effects that increase strength. So something like the Queen that we saw, or even support, his effect will trigger before the end of your turn when they lose that strength. So it could be quite easy to set this up.
So he'll get the benefit before the turn is considered ended, and he's quite powerful. Yeah. Obviously, he works very well in red, right, or ruby.
Yeah.
With
I think ruby, sapphire.
Yeah. But I just mean the new Gaston, right? Gaston comes already with 10 strength.
So I am tempted, even though he does get hit by Medusa. I think the fact that you could play him 1 turn. And already get the benefit, I think could be quite strong.
And I think he's probably better than some of those A's. But let's leave it there.
Yeah, okay. No, I like him.
Yes.
So next up, we have a super rare action. This is Who's With Me, a 3-cost inkable. Your characters get +2 strength this turn. And whenever one of your characters with Reckless challenges another character this turn, gain 2 law. So it can synergize potentially quite well with Maximus. Yeah. You could use this to give Donald Duck that extra strength he needs to trigger Maximus. At the same time, I do feel like it's a little bit situational. Like you really need to be building a deck around this card with lots of reckless characters.
I think it's C for sure.
Yeah.
I do wonder exactly. I think it's better than Prince.
Sorry, Prince.
Yes. So should we look at the last card for Ruby?
Yes, let's do it. So we have Pete, Steamboat Rival. He's a 7-cost inkable, 6/6, quest for 2 with the ability Disappear. When you play this character, if you have a character named Pete in play, you may banish chosen opposing character. So he is comparable to Maleficent Dragon. He just requires you to already have a Pete in play. As we know, there aren't that many great Petes, but we did see the rare Pete. Not even rare. He's
uncommon.
He's uncommon Pete announced this set, which I think every steel deck is going to be running. Yeah. So he does have that, but still, it is maybe a little bit situational to set up. I don't know, because right now there are Petes in Steel and Emerald, so it's whether Ruby Steel, Ruby Emerald deck sees much play. I don't know. I'm tempted to put him higher in the C tier. I don't know what you think.
I don't know. I don't think people will use him.
Okay, well there we go. Let's put him below Philip, but I think he is a cool card. So we're going to go over to Sapphire. I think Sapphire did pretty well this set.
Sapphire and Emerald, in my opinion, just across the board. They're just super rares and legendaries. But
so we'll look at Mufasa, Ruler of Pride Rock, an 8-cost, uninkable, 4/9 that quests for 4, with 2 abilities. A Delicate Balance. When you play this character, exert all cards in your inkwell, then return 2 cards at random from your inkwell to your hand, which is the first time we're seeing this ability. And everything the light touches, whenever this character quests, ready all cards in your inkwell, allowing you to get double usage out of your ink, which is a pretty insane ability. I think there's not much discussion on this one. I think this card, I hope this card is going to be incredibly good. I think his ability is super impactful. He can really help you close out games. He synergizes well with the Lucky Dime. He synergizes well basically with any deck that wants to ramp really fast. So I think Mufasa comfortably goes into the S tier. I don't think he's better than the 2 Amber cards, though.
No, I don't think so either, yeah. But, I don't know. I actually don't know. I think there's so many things that is so unfamiliar with this mechanic.
Yes, yeah.
That we'll start learning more. But I do think that is one of those cards people are excited.
Yeah.
This and the next one that we're about
I hope he's not like the Jafar of this set, where he's he looks amazing and he doesn't deliver. But I think this one...
And I think he's going to be an enchanted between us. We'll find out. Yes.
So the other legendary from Sapphire, we have Merlin, Intellectual Visionary, a 6-cost, uninkable, 3/7, quest for 2. He shifts in at 5. And he has the ability Overdevelop Brain. When you play this character, if you use Shift to play him, you may search your deck for any card, put that card into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So it is a full-on shooter mechanic for the Magic fans out there. and he will basically allow you to get any card you need when you play him. So the fact that it requires a shift does mean the setup is maybe a little bit difficult. Your opponent can potentially take out your Merlin before he has a chance to shift in, unless you do the playing and the shifting on the same turn. But I think really you want to be able to shift him onto a dry character to then sing the song, because I think the natural synergy is in Sapphire Steel. You grab Whole New World and then you're able to sing it straight away. But of course you could be looking for characters to play. So I think I want to put him in the high A tier. I don't know what you feel about that, Matthias.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
I think he could potentially surprise as an S, but
yeah, I just feel like I think he's going to be a good card. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think you're going to run 4 of him in your deck.
I don't think so either.
But his ability is pretty crazy. So
it is uninkable as well, right?
And he's uninkable, exactly. So I think he belongs there in high A tier. Not bad. Okay, next up we have the Queen, Fairest in the Land, a 5-cost inkable, 2/6 quest for 1. She's Floodbond, so she'll shift in at 3. She has Ward, and she has the ability Reflections of Vanity. This character gains +1 law for each character in the Queen you have in play. It's very, very situational. If Queen tribal decks come to be a thing, I think she'll do well. Until then, you're not playing her in a deck that isn't just running a load of Queens, so I think she does probably end up down here in the C tier. Question is she worse than Prince Philip? I think just because it really requires a very specific deck, I think she has to go there in the lower C tier, unfortunately.
Peach is kind of a specific deck as well, so you could argue, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like just that card alone, right, the other Peach that everyone will run, justifies him being above the Queen.
So let's look at the next card in Sapphire. This is Kuzco, Selfish Emperor, a 6-cost inkable, 3/5 that quest for 2. He has 2 abilities, Outplacement. When you play this character, you may put chosen item or location into its player's inkwell, face down and exerted. And by invite only, pay 4, your other characters gain resist +1 until the start of your next turn. So I actually do like this card a lot. I think having 2 abilities does give him a lot of flexibility depending where you would use him. Sapphire players will know one of the things that is often a struggle is removing locations, removing items, especially in the mirror match. If you're able to put your opponent's lucky dime into the inkwell, that can basically win you the game. So I think Kuzco is a very strong card, and his ability's on play, at least his first ability, so you're going to get to use it at least once. So I think I want to put him in A tier, maybe below Merlin.
Do you think it's even better than Maximus?
Maybe Maximus deserves to be a little bit higher.
I think so. I think Maximus is higher.
Actually, we're going to move some stuff around. I think it's probably more like this. So we'll move Maximus, and there we go. So I think that looks a little bit better.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
So yeah, Kuzco I think is a very cool card. Next up we have Prince John, Gold Lover, a 4-cost inkable, a 3/4 that quest for 1 with the ability Beautiful Lovely Taxes, exert, play an item from your hand or discard with 5 cost or less for free, exerted. So another card allowing you to cheat something out into play a little bit cheaper than it normally would be. He comes down on turn 4, so he is going to survive hopefully at least a couple of turns before Medusa comes down, so you will hopefully get 1 usage out of him. But how many relevant 5-cost items are there? A lot of items are either 3-cost or 7-cost or 6-cost, so I think the fact that it's a 5-cost item, it means he kind of isn't maybe getting as much value out of it as you would like. I think he does get better with time, but right now I think
the problem is he will be then banished with time as well. Right?
So I do think he belongs down here in B tier. Whereabouts in the B tier though? Who is he better than, or who's he worse than? Is he better than Robin Hood? I don't think he's better than Robin Hood. So I think maybe...
I think he'll probably be after the Aladdin as well.
After the Aladdin, so okay, so we'll put him before Maleficent. Let's do that.
I'm sorry, people.
We'll put him before Maleficent.
Yes.
At least there's that. So we're moving over to Steel. We're starting off with the first legendary. This is Jafar, Tyrannical Hypnotist, a 6-cost inkable, 0/7 quest for 2. He has Challenger +7, so he gains 7 strength when challenging. And he has the ability Intimidating Gaze. Opposing characters with cost 4 or less can't challenge.
This is such a tricky one.
This is a tricky one. I have seen people say this is like an amazing card. I've seen other people say it's a terrible card. I think if you're a Ruby player, he becomes a terrible card because you can really take him out quite easily with something like a Brawl. If you play Steel or you're an aggro deck, he becomes a little bit more difficult to deal with. I think actually, surprisingly, he might even fit into an aggro deck himself as a way of protecting your kind of squishier characters from being challenged. Even so, I think it just kind of... I don't think he's great. I don't think he's
A. I don't know.
I don't think he's A. Could he be low A?
Can we put A between A and B?
No, I've said so many bad things about him, but could he be like low A tier? I think just because I think he has potential that he could do something crazy. That
It is cool that being able to not let people challenge. And to be fair, a lot of characters are 4 or less. There is the reality. It's just that he can be punished so easily. That's 0 from him, literally everything. Like, you just sneeze next to him and he's banished.
If your opponent's playing Ruby, it's a tricky one. Oh, I really don't know.
Let's leave him in A.
We'll leave him in A for now.
That was down below if you think we're wrong.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So the other legendary for Steel is Arthur, King Victorious, a 7-cost uninkable 3/6 Floodborn. So he will shift in at 5, he quests for 3, and he has the ability Knighted by the King. When you play this character, chosen character gains Challenger +2 and Resist +2, and can challenge readied characters this turn. So he's got a lot going on there. So basically when you play him, you can turn either him or another character into a bomb, assuming he's dry. How relevant is that ability going to actually be?
So we do have the new Arthur Ward, right?
Ward, yes, yeah.
In Steel, so obviously you have there. If you're doing Steel Sapphire, you have in Sapphire as well.
Yeah.
But for me, what scares me is the uninkable element of that as well. How many of those you want to have in your hand? That is such a late
The
game
fact he's got the 3 strength, it does put him in that range to be Medusa'd. So.
I don't think he's C though.
I don't think he's C.
I think he'll be B.
I think just because he's kind of situational, I do want to put him.
I think
it's.
I think Donald Duck is still better than him.
I think so as well. So let's do that. So we're going to look at Snow White, Fair-Hearted next. She's a 5-cost uninkable 3/5 questing for 3. She has the ability Natural Leader. This character gains Resist +1 for each other knight character you have in play. So it's another one of those cards. If people end up building like crazy decks full of knights, she becomes suddenly way better. As it stands, I do feel like she's probably going to end up somewhere in the low B tier.
You don't think she's C?
She could be C. Is she better than Arthur? What? Okay, you've convinced me. I'll put it down here in the C tier. So there we go. I think she's better. I think she's the best of the C tier, if that's any consolation. So a knight that could work with Snow White is Grumpy Skeptical Knight, a 3-cost inkable 3/1 that quests for 1. He has 2 abilities. The first one is Boon of Resilience. While one of your knight characters is at a location, this character gains Resist +2 and Burst of Speed. During your turn, this character gains Evasive. I don't know. I don't know about this one at all, actually.
He will synergize really well with the new location, right? The Seven Dwarfs.
The mine. Yeah.
And obviously with Snow White, as we just saw. But when we look at him alone, I don't know.
His first ability requires too much setup, I think, for me, because it's got to be one of your knight characters at a location. So you need a location. You need either him to be at the location or one of the other knight characters to be at a location. It is Resist +2, which is nice, so he could survive. Like if he challenges a 2 strength character, he's gonna take no damage. So he could take down a Diablo, but I don't know. It just feels too situational for me. Like I want to put him down here.
But I think he's still above some of those Cs.
I think he's above. I think I want to put him here.
After the action.
Let's tidy this up, move these here. And then we will go to another super rare in Steel. It's Kronk, Head of Security, a 7-cost uninkable 6/6 questing for 1. Floodborn, so shifts in at 5, and he has the ability Are you on the list? During your turn, whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, you may play a character with cost 5 or less for free. So that does seem pretty nice. Being able to play something for free is always a really, really good thing. Does kind of require you to already have a Kronk in play. he could survive a turn. He is out of Medusa range. He is out of Along Came Zeus range. And he kind of puts your opponent in that kind of tricky position where they kind of almost don't want to quest. So I think because of that, I don't think he's A tier. I don't think he's A tier, but I think he could be high B tier. What do you think?
I agree.
So do we think he's better than the other cards in B tier right now? Do you think he's better than Gothel? Yeah, I think I'm going to put him above Mother Gothel.
Yeah.
And
we do have a surprise card. We had to break our own rules with super rares and above. The reason for that is because Pete makes us do that. He's a very, very strong card. I can't see him not taking place in everyone's still.
So let's tell you about Pete first of all. So he is Pete Games Referee, a 3-cost Inkable, 3/3, questing for 1. So good stats already. And he has the ability Blow the Whistle. When you play this character, opponents can't play actions until the start of your next turn, essentially protecting all of your characters. If you're playing an aggro deck, he protects them all from songs. If your opponent is trying to discard you, it protects you from discard, protects you from Whole New World, protects you from Be Prepared. It can be bounced back if you're pairing it with Amethyst. I think he just has so many utilities. He gives steel decks basically an answer to board wipes, which can traditionally be kind of a problem for them. I think Pete is an easy S tier. I'm going to put him at the lowest of the S tier
just because of his rarity.
Yeah, I think the other cards are maybe a little bit more interesting.
Yeah,
but I think Pete is actually one of the craziest cards.
Honestly, he will be more present than everything else that we're looking here. Personally, I think, but it's just a scary one. And I think also just a quick disclaimer: 99% of you know that, but songs are also actions.
Yes.
So I think it's something that we often try to remind people that are not as competitive.
Yeah.
Because you see action, you think it's just
and like if I sing this song, does it still count as an action or playing an action?
Exactly.
And yes,
it does. So that's where it really gets very heavy with a card like this. It surprised us to see under Uncommon, but also we were very pleased because Pete didn't have a good space, so now he does, and it's starting to build that synergy.
There we go. And who knows, maybe because of this Pete will become better.
Yeah, exactly, but we're not putting him down.
No, I don't think he's going to become that much better.
So I think this gets to the end. As we said, we are having the focus only on super rares and legendaries. That's mainly because we think that's the ones that are harder to find, so we're trying to give you the hint beforehand.
And tell us down below whether you agree with our list. Exactly. Do you think we got it wrong? Do you think we're insane for putting Scroop at the lowest tier in C?
Or Robin Hood and B?
Or Robin Hood and B. I mean, I would be curious to come back and watch this video in 3 months and see whether we got any of these right. Yes. But yeah, let us know down in the comments, or even come on over to our Discord and tell us what you think over there. It'll be awesome to hang out with you.
Link just down in the description. And then obviously, as we were mentioning, the La Pierre Babu, just go check their website. The pre-orders are already live, so if you want to guarantee that on day one, they're going to be opening so many booster boxes, so the card will be there. So go check their website, put your pre-order right now, and if you have any other questions or suggestions, just leave the comments just down below.
And of course, as always, a huge, massive shout out to our YouTube members. We really, really appreciate you. It really helps us up the quality of what we do here, and hopefully you get some awesome perks as well. Yes. So if you're curious to learn more, you can hit the join button down below and get all of the details about YouTube memberships.
Please let us know if you like the format of this, so we can carry on doing in the future. That's the first time we're doing a tier list, but I think it's quite interesting to see that all together.
I think it's a fun one to kind of reflect on all of the cards now that we've seen all of them.
Yeah. So as always, thanks for watching and happy questing.
Happy questing.